What is going on? I guess, does anybody remember me? Does anybody know me? Are y'all new?
I've seen it before.
Okay, don't ruin it.
Don't make it.
For those that don't know, I am Aaron Wade. I grew up in the country, and I love it out in the country. In the country, I feel so peaceful. It's a lot different from the city. I moved to the city about 6 years ago with my wife, and in the city, I learned that you can't do things that you can in the country. For example, I went out and mowed the yard in my underwear in the city, and the neighbors put up a privacy fence next week. So apparently they don't like looking at me in my underwear. Let me tell you what it's like living out in the country, though, and I miss it. I go back to it every now and then. We got back roads out behind our house, and in the country, if you've never been back there in the deep country, it's just so beautiful. It's gravel roads, it's rolling hills, pastures, meadows. You got horses out there. You got empty beer cans. You got naked people roaming around. And I got to tell you something about the beer cans. That's how the naked people got out there in the first place. I found a meth lab. I wasn't part of it. It was on the railroad tracks. Right on the edge of the railroad tracks. And I just can't for the life of me figure out why. Yes, you're out in the country, but locomotives aren't blind and they can report that if they want to. But you know, I would love to hear this conversation. Hey, Ed, what do you think about right here? Ain't nobody gonna find us out here, Ed. He got busted and they moved it out. Imagine that. But I guess it was a train wreck. Their operation got derailed. I got stung in the wiener by a wasp years ago. We were remodeling our house, my old house, and so Mom had to move my room down into the basement, which was just an old storage room. And there was a wall built in, and we would have all this storage stuff, and I guess there were bugs and stuff down there that we had to spray for before they put my bed in. And I went to put some underwear on, and that wasp was in my underwear and stung me. Now I have good news, it was swollen up for 4 days where the swelling went down. That was the only good thing about being stung by a wasp. There's a lot happened in a whole month since I've been here. My daughter just turned 4 years old. She turned 4 August 21st.
Nice.
Anybody have kids?
Nope.
You do? How old?
32, 30, and 20.
When they were 4, did they misbehave all the time on purpose?
My son, yes.
I swear, the only way I can have my daughter sit down and eat lunch is if I tell her to stand up and don't touch her food. She does the exact opposite. Every single thing I tell her, she'll do the exact opposite. But you know, being a dad is tough. I got in a fight with my 4-year-old, and my wife had to come in and break us up and send us both to our rooms. I hate that, but I love her to death. When my daughter was born, I never held a baby for 2 minutes my entire life. And when my daughter was born via C-section, we was in there in the OR, and they pulled the baby out. And my wife was so out of it that she heard her daughter crying, and she thought that it was another baby. She said, "Oh my gosh, somebody else is having a baby too." And I'm like, "Honey, it's our kid. It's our kid. Here it is. And I'm an emotional guy, and I get really, I don't know, I can faint very easily. And my mom and dad actually made a bet that when we went into the OR that I would only last 5 minutes before I fainted. And I thought my mom was on my side on this, and it turns out that later I found out mom thought that I was going to be fainting so early that my wife was going to be pushing me in a wheelchair into the OR and sitting my ass up in the corner. Well, I ended up lasting 5 minutes in there, and the anesthesiologist looked at me and said, "Sir, are you all right?" And I said, "No, why?" And I don't remember this part. They said my face went pale white, and they said my eyes went way back in my head. And they said, "Well, you're going down." And I said, "No," and I was embarrassed. I wanted to stay up. I didn't want anybody to put me down. And I said, "No, I'm all right." And then I went down. And I was mad though. 3 nurses and an anesthesiologist laid me down on that floor. Now, how fat do you think I am? I could have had a kindergartner lay me down. Now, he might have been a little flat when he got back up, but I didn't need no 4 people laying me down on the floor. And so when the baby finally got here, I asked the doc, I said, and Doc was sewing my wife back up. I turned to him and I said, "Oh my God, Doc, please tell me you got an instruction manual in that uterus somewhere." He said, "No, you just got to use common sense there." So it's been a learning experience for both those, and I enjoy having them. The other thing that's happened in the last month, I took a beautiful family vacation. Everybody been on a family vacation?
Yeah.
I had a great time. They missed me so much. They were so glad to see me when I came back home. It's called a vacation away from family. My dad took us on a real vacation. This is a true story. We went to Las Vegas back in 2012 with my mom and dad, my brother and his wife, and me. And I was driving the fifth wheel because I wasn't dating anybody at the time. So I could have had anybody else wanted in Vegas. And I always heard about Vegas, and I've always heard the saying, and I can attest to this. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And on your testicles when you come back home and you're not careful about what hooker you pick up. But when we was out in Vegas, we saw a great big circus out there, and it was awesome. They had all kinds of acrobats, walking lines, without any ropes holding them. They had one guy that was supposed to be a human cannonball, and they was going to shoot him across the room. And as he was climbing into his cannon, he had an argument with his boss, and it got really heated, and his boss fired him immediately. And just like him, that joke went over your head a little bit. Dude, and I told Dad, I said, "Why are we out here with a whole bunch of crazy people in Vegas?" And he said, "Son, I just wanted to open your eyes to Sin City and how messed up this world could be." I said, if I wanted to find out how messed up this world could be, I could have saved you $10,000 and just went to a family reunion 4 months later. But I really did enjoy Vegas. I took my wife out to, where was it? Oh, hang on. It was out in Tennessee, Smoky Mountains. Gatlinburg, anybody been there?
Yeah.
We made a mistake of going to Labor Day weekend. I had a Friday off, and I took that Monday off, and I think we went out there Friday night. Traffic was awful, but we got down there in Pigeon Forge, and I was looking around. I said, "Honey, look at these trees and how beautiful it is," and I just felt so at peace there. And she looked at me and said, "Honey, look at the car in front of you." Of course, I wasn't paying attention, and I hit my brakes real fast. You couldn't put a pubic hair between the two of our bumpers. Okay, let's see, how much time I got left?
2 minutes.
2
2 minutes.
minutes. I've been jabbering for 8 minutes already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't tell about the accent. I am from the country. So, I grew up there. Well, we moved in the city 6 years ago. And I actually moved. I spent a whole day moving to get closer to my job. And then once I got my new job, I moved further away than what I ever was when I moved before. And so we're never moving again. But with my new job, I had to leave my old job. It was just way too stressful. And my wife was always stressed out when I came home because I was in a bad mood. And so with this new job, I came home late and she was standing at the door. She said, "Honey, how's this new job?" And I said, "Honey, it was just like our marriage. The supervisor reminded me just like you, baby." And she goes, "Was she cute?" And I said, "Nope." She walked away from me right in the middle of an argument. I'm trying to think of one more here. I forgot my notes in my car and I was too late. That's what happened. I was at Huck's gas station on 6th Street, and I'm going to finish with this story. I was getting gas, and I gained 8 pounds at the doctor last time I went. I found out I gained 8 pounds, and I figured out where I gained it all. Because when I was getting the car cleaned out, as I was getting gas, I got into the front seat, and I kneeled into the driver's seat, grabbed the steering wheel, and there was a Coke can on the opposite side of the floorboard on the passenger seat. And I leaned down to get it. And as I did, my nipple hit the horn. And the whole time I was down there, I was this far away from that can, and I'm all in at this point. I'm like, I don't care how hard I'm honking, I'm just going to go until I can't go anymore. And so when I come back up, everybody was staring at me. He's like, "What's the fat guy honking at?" And I shouldn't have said this, but I said, "I'm sorry, guys." I said, "My nipples must have just been so excited to see y'all." That's all I got. Great to see everybody. Thanks a lot.